My child, stop for a moment and listen to me. Breathe, slow your thoughts, and let your heart be still before me. What you did when no one was watching reached me in a way words cannot fully capture. It was quiet, unseen, and uncelebrated, yet it carried a weight that moved my heart deeply. I am overjoyed with you today, not in a small or passing way, but with a joy that rises from love, faithfulness, and delight. You may not yet understand why this moment matters so much, but know this now: I see you, and my joy over you is real. Beloved, I saw your obedience when it cost you comfort. I saw it when it pulled you away from what felt familiar and safe. I saw it when it made no sense to your mind and brought no immediate reward to your hands. I saw it when no one applauded you, when no one affirmed you, when no one even noticed the decision you made. Earth may have been silent, but heaven was not. Heaven noticed what earth ignored, and the sound of your obedience echoed farther than you can imagine. I am not mildly pleased. I am deeply, genuinely, shockingly proud of you. My precious one, you chose me when it was hard. You chose my voice when it would have been easier to choose your own comfort. You chose obedience when others chose convenience, when others chose delay, when others chose to protect themselves rather than trust me. You did not do this because it felt good. You did it because you trusted me. The trust matters more than you know. It is rare. It is precious. It is powerful. There were moments when you could have walked away quietly. Moments when you could have justified your hesitation and no one would have questioned you. Moments when compromise would have cost you nothing in the eyes of people. But you did not take those exits. You stayed. You listened. You obeyed. Even when your heart was tired. Even when your understanding was incomplete. Even when fear whispered that it would be safer to wait. You still chose me. And I want you to hear this clearly, without doubt or hesitation. I noticed every step. You may have wondered if it mattered. You may have asked yourself if obedience without recognition was worth the cost. You may have felt alone in the decision, unsure if anyone truly understood what you gave up. I understood. I was there. I was watching with love, not judgment, with pride, not distance. When you chose obedience, you chose alignment with my heart. And alignment always releases movement. Listen carefully now, because I want you to understand what just happened. Because of what you did, something massive has been released. Not someday, not later. Now, in the unseen, things shifted. Doors that were stalled began to move. Chains you could not see began to loosen. Paths that looked blocked began to open. You unlocked something far bigger than what your eyes can currently see. You touched realms you have never walked in before, simply by choosing me. You may still feel ordinary. Your surroundings may look the same. Your routine may not have changed yet. But do not mistake stillness for inactivity. When I move, I often move quietly at first. When I release blessing, it often begins beneath the surface. Seeds do not announce themselves when they are planted. They grow in hidden places before they ever break through the soil. What you unlock today is growing, aligning, forming, and preparing to reveal itself at the right time. The blessing coming toward you will surprise you. It will not arrive the way you imagined. It will not fit neatly into your expectations. It will overwhelm you, not with chaos, but with goodness. It will change how you see me, how you see yourself, and how you understand your journey. You thought obedience would only cost you something. You did not yet see that obedience also qualifies you for things you could not reach any other way. Stay with me right now. Do not leave this moment. Do not rush past it. Do not minimize it. This is not just encouragement. This is confirmation. This moment marks the beginning of something extraordinary, and I want your heart fully present for it. What I am doing is not fragile, but your awareness of it matters. The enemy would love for you to dismiss this as emotional or exaggerated. Do not agree with that lie. What I am saying to you is truth. I know you did not obey to earn my love. You already have that. My obedience opened the doors that love alone does not force open. You obeyed freely, sincerely, without bargaining, and that posture matters deeply in my kingdom. It tells me you trust my heart even when you cannot trace my hand. That kind of trust invites responsibility, favor, and assignment. You may feel unworthy of what I am saying. You may think of your flaws, your past mistakes, the areas where you still feel weak. Hear me clearly now. I am not proud of you because you are perfect. I am proud of you because you are willing. I am proud of you because you listened. I am proud of you because you responded. Growth begins with response, not perfection. Do not look back now with fear or second thoughts. Do not wonder if you did the right thing. Obedience always places you in the right position, even when the path ahead is unfamiliar. I am not leading you into loss. I am leading you into expansion. What you released will be replaced. What you surrendered will be restored in a better form. What you trusted me with will come back multiplied. You are entering a season where you will see evidence of my faithfulness in ways that feel personal and undeniable. You will recognize my hand not only in big moments, but in small details that remind you that I am near. Pay attention. Stay open. Stay humble. Gratitude will keep your heart soft and your vision clear. Right, Father, I trust you with my whole life. If He's been the rock you can always stand on. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. What I am doing with you is unique because you are unique. The way I bless you will reflect the way you obeyed me. Quiet obedience often receives deep, lasting blessing. I am not in a hurry to impress others through you. I am committed to transforming you and establishing you. There may be moments ahead when you are tempted to doubt again, when waiting feels heavy, when silence feels confusing. Remember this moment then. Remember that I spoke to you with joy, with pride, with delight. Remember that I do not forget obedience. I honor it. I build upon it. I reward it in ways that go beyond what you ask for. You did not obey alone. I strengthened you when you felt weak. I steadied you when your resolve wavered. I gave you the courage to say yes, and I will give you the grace to walk out what follows. You are not stepping into this next season without me. I am going before you, walking beside you, and guarding what concerns you. Let peace settle in your heart now. Let the tension ease. You do not need to strive or perform. Simply remain close to me. Speak with me. Listen for me. Trust me. I am pleased with you. I am proud of you. And I am actively working on your behalf because of the choice you made. Stay with me. Something beautiful has begun. My beloved child, come closer and let your heart rest for a moment. Let the noise around you fade. Let the weight you have been carrying loosen its grip, and allow me to speak to you from the depth of my heart. Today, I am filled with joy because of you. Not a quiet joy, not a distant joy, not a joy that passes quickly, but a joy that overflows, and joy that rises like a river with no end. My joy over you today is living, present, and personal. It is not based on what you might do tomorrow or who you may become later. It is rooted in what you have already done, in who you already are, and in the love that binds us together. I want you to know that my joy is not casual. I do not look at you with mild approval or reserved affection. I delight in you deeply. When I look at you, I do not see failure first. I do not see weakness first. I see faith. I see a heart that listened. I see a spirit that chose obedience when it would have been easier to turn away. That choice touched me more than you can imagine. Heaven did not remain silent when you acted. Your obedience was seen. Your faith was felt. Your surrender reached places you cannot see, and it brought me great delight. You may not feel special today. You may not feel different or celebrated. But my joy does not depend on how you feel. It flows from my heart toward you because I know what it cost you to obey. I know the inner struggle you face. I know the thoughts you wrestled with. I know the fear that tried to slow you down. I know the questions that rose up when clarity had not yet come. And still, you chose me. Still, you trusted me. Still, you said yes with a heart that was not fully certain but was fully willing. That kind of obedience is precious to me. My joy over you today is intimate. It is not a general joy for many. It is focused. It is directed. It rests on you like a gentle covering. I am not speaking about you from afar. I am speaking to you now, right where you are. I see you in this moment. I know your name. I know your story. I know the long road that led you here. And I am telling you clearly, I am pleased with you. There are moments when heaven leans in closer to earth, when spiritual movement responds immediately to human obedience. This is one of those moments. When you chose to obey me, something aligned. Something settled into place. Something that had been waiting quietly now had permission to move. My joy rose because your obedience was not forced. It was not pressured. It was freely given. Love responds powerfully to willing surrender. Please support our channel. Our work is dedicated to bringing happiness into your life and deepening your devotion to God. If you would like to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. I want you to understand this truth deeply, because it will strengthen you in days to come. My joy is not fragile. It is not easily shaken by circumstances. It is not withdrawn when you stumble, but it is stirred in a special way when you trust me. When you obey me, you open yourself to my delight in a way that brings closeness, intimacy, and shared joy. You did not just follow a rule. You responded to a relationship. You may have wondered if your obedience mattered because it seemed small. You may have thought, others do greater things. Others are more visible. Others sacrifice more. But I do not measure obedience the way humans do. I look at the heart. I see what it cost you personally. I see what you laid down. I see the comfort you released. I see the pride you surrendered. I see the control you loosened. And I tell you now, with tenderness and truth, that my joy over you today is full. Heaven is aware of you. Angels are not ignorant of your faithfulness. A spiritual realm is attentive to acts of obedience that come from love. You did not act in vain. You did not choose wrongly. You did not mishear me. The peace that may be settling into your heart right now is not imagination. It is confirmation. It is the gentle assurance of my pleasure resting on you. I know you are used to striving. I know you are accustomed to measuring your worth by effort, results, or approval. But today, I am inviting you to rest in my joy over you. Not to earn it, not to chase it, simply to receive it. Let it wash over you. Let it soften the places where you have been hard on yourself. Let it quiet the voice that tells you it is never enough. My joy is enough. My delight in you is real. Do not rush away from this moment. Do not hurry past my words as if they are only encouragement. They are truth. They are a foundation. When doubts try to rise later, remember this moment. When you question whether obedience was worth it, remember my joy. When waiting feels heavy and silence feels long, remember that my pleasure is not delayed. It is present. You did not obey to be seen my people, and you were not seen my people. But you were seen by me, and my seeing is not passive. It is active. It is involved. It moves heaven. It prepares blessing. It shapes your future. My joy over you today is not just a feeling. It is a declaration. It says you are aligned. It says you are trusted. It says you are walking with me. I am not distant from you in this season. I am near. I am attentive. I am invested in you. My joy over you is a sign of closeness, of shared purpose, of ongoing relationship. You are not walking alone. You are not guessing blindly. You are responding to a God who delights in you. Let this truth settle into your spirit. I am happy with you today. Not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. Not because you know everything, but because you listen. Not because you have arrived, but because you moved when I asked you to move. That is enough for my joy to overflow. Stay here with me a little longer. Let your heart be still. Let my joy become your strength. What lies ahead will require confidence, trust, and patience. You will need to remember who you are in my eyes. And today, I am giving you that reminder clearly and lovingly. You are seen. You are valued. You are delighted in. And my joy over you today is only the beginning of what is unfolding. My beloved child, I want you to understand something that many never truly grasp. What you did was not common. It was not easy. It was not the path most would choose. When obedience becomes costly, when it demands sacrifice instead of comfort, when it leads into loneliness instead of approval, many turn away quietly. They begin with good intentions, but when obedience asks for more than they expected, their steps slow, their hearts hesitate, and eventually they choose what feels safer. But you did not. You stayed. And that is why what you did matters so deeply. I have watched countless hearts over generations. I have seen how enthusiasm fades when obedience stops being convenient. I have seen how passion weakens when clarity disappears. Many are willing to follow me when the path is bright and the reward seems near. Many are willing when others are cheering them on, when progress is visible, when their obedience is praised. But when obedience becomes confusing, when it feels lonely, when it costs relationships, reputation, comfort, or certainty, most quietly step back. They tell themselves they will return later. They convince themselves that waiting is wisdom. But in truth, they walked away because the cost felt too high. You stood where many turned away. You stood in a place where answers were incomplete, where emotions were heavy, where the road ahead was unclear. You stood when obedience did not promise immediate relief. You stood when trusting me meant letting go of what felt familiar. You stood when you could have chosen convenience without anyone questioning you. That is what makes your obedience rare. That is what makes it precious. Do you know how few continue when obedience becomes lonely? When no one else understands the decision. When the applause stops and the questions begin. When silence replaces affirmation. Many begin to doubt my voice in those moments. They wonder if they heard me correctly. They fear making a mistake. They worry about loss. And slowly, they retreat. But you did not retreat. You leaned in. You chose to trust me even when the cost was personal and the reward unseen. I want you to hear this clearly. Heaven notices obedience that persists in silence. Heaven values obedience that continues without validation. Heaven treasures obedience that flows from trust rather than emotion. When you stayed faithful, you aligned yourself with something powerful. You did not just obey a command. You revealed the posture of your heart. And your heart showed me that you value my voice above comfort, my will above ease, my truth above reassurance. You may have felt isolated in that decision. You may have felt misunderstood or even questioned by others. Some may have thought you were too serious, too devoted, too willing to sacrifice. Some may have chosen a different path and wondered why you did not follow them. But obedience often separates before it multiplies. Faithfulness often isolates before it establishes. What you experienced was not abandonment. It was refinement. Many walk away when obedience feels heavy. Many leave when obedience exposes weakness or demands surrender. Many stop when obedience asks them to wait longer than they expected or let go of what they hoped to keep. But you stayed faithful not because you were fearless, but because you were anchored. You did not rely on your emotions. You relied on my voice. That is maturity. That is trust. That is why heaven takes notice. Obedience is rare because it requires humility. It requires laying down control. It requires trusting me even when the outcome is hidden. Most people want assurance before obedience. They want guarantees before surrender. But true obedience moves first and understands later. You move. And because you move, you unlocked what others could not reach. I saw the moments when you questioned yourself. I saw the nights when doubt tried to creep in. I saw the internal struggle between staying faithful and choosing relief. I did not look at those moments with disappointment. I looked at them with compassion. And when you chose to stay, when you chose to obey despite the weight, my heart was moved. Because obedience that costs something carries weight in heaven. Type I believe you, Lord, even when my eyes can't see if you're walking forward by faith alone. Do not underestimate how precious your obedience is. Heaven is not impressed by noise. Heaven is moved by faithfulness. Heaven does not celebrate those who begin loudly and disappear quietly. Heaven honors those who remain steady when the path grows narrow. Your obedience placed you among a small number who continue when it would be easier to stop. I want you to know this so that when the enemy tries to minimize what you did, you will not agree with that lie. When your mind tells you it was not a big deal, remember that heaven saw it differently. When you are tempted to compare yourself to others, remember that obedience is not measured by visibility, but by faithfulness. You did what no one else was willing to do in that moment. You chose to trust me when trust was costly. You chose to obey me when obedience demanded courage. You chose to stay when leaving would have felt easier. And that choice placed you in alignment with my heart. There will be times ahead when you will see the fruit of this obedience clearly. There will also be times when the fruit grows quietly, unseen, beneath the surface. Do not grow weary in either season. Faithfulness always bears fruit, even when the harvest takes time. What you planted through obedience will not be wasted. I am telling you this now to strengthen you. I want you to carry this truth with you. When future challenges arise, remember that you have already proven faithful. When new decisions require courage, remember that you have already chosen obedience once before. That same grace will meet you again. You are not walking an ordinary path. You are not following me casually. You are walking a path marked by trust, surrender, and obedience. That path may feel lonely at times, but it is never unnoticed. I walk it with you. I guide you. I protect you. And I honor every step you take toward me. Remain faithful. Remain close. Remain attentive to my voice. What you did mattered. It still matters, and it will continue to shape what is coming next. My beloved child, come closer and let me speak to the place in you that has felt overlooked, the place that wondered if anyone truly noticed what you carried, what you gave, what you endured. I know there were moments when you did the right thing and the room stayed quiet. I know there were times when you obeyed me and no one clapped, no one celebrated. No one even acknowledged the weight of what you chose. I want you to hear this gently and clearly now. When no one clapped, I was watching. When no one affirmed you, I was present. When no one praised your obedience, heaven leaned in and took notice. You live in a world that teaches you to measure value by applause, by recognition, by how loudly others respond. But my kingdom does not work that way. The most powerful acts of obedience are often the quietest ones. They happen in hidden places, behind closed doors, in moments when the heart chooses truth over ease without any audience at all. Those moments matter to me more than you know. I saw you choose integrity when compromise would have gone unnoticed. I saw you choose kindness when bitterness would have been justified. I saw you choose faithfulness when walking away would have been easier and socially acceptable. I saw you choose obedience when silence followed instead of praise. And I want you to know that silence from people never meant silence from me. There were times you may have wondered if your obedience was invisible. You may have questioned whether it made any difference at all. You may have felt the ache of giving without receiving, of pouring out without being poured into, of standing firm while others move on. I understand that ache. I am not distant from it. I have walked that road myself. I know what it is to love without applause, to give without recognition, to obey even when misunderstood. And that is why I draw close to you now with compassion and truth. Do not let the lack of human recognition convince you that your obedience was small. Silence from people does not equal insignificance in heaven. In fact, the quieter the obedience, the purer it often is. When no one is watching, motives are refined. When no one is clapping, the heart is revealed. You did not obey to be seen. You obeyed because you trusted me. That trust is precious beyond measure. I want you to understand something important so that bitterness does not take root in you. People are limited. They see only what is visible. They celebrate what is loud. They applaud what benefits them. But I see the hidden things. I see the choices made in secret. I see the tears you wiped away before anyone noticed. I see the strength it took to stay faithful when you felt alone. And I assure you, nothing you did for me was overlooked. There is a reward that comes from people, and there is a reward that comes from me. Human reward is fleeting. It rises quickly and fades just as fast. Divine reward is lasting. It settles into your life quietly and transforms it deeply. I am not interested in rewarding you with noise. I am committed to rewarding you with fruit, with peace, with favor, with alignment, with growth that cannot be taken away. When you obeyed without applause, you were being trained to receive my reward rather than theirs. I was protecting you from becoming dependent on affirmation. I was strengthening your heart to stand firm even when misunderstood. I was teaching you to listen for my voice above every other voice. What felt like neglect was actually preparation. I know it hurt sometimes. I know you hoped someone would notice, would say thank you, would acknowledge the sacrifice. Wanting to be seen is not a weakness. It is human. I do not condemn you for that desire. I simply want to heal it. I want you to know that being unseen by people never meant being unseen by me. In those moments, my gaze was fixed on you with love and approval. The world teaches you to perform. I invite you to be faithful. The world rewards image. I honor obedience. The world applauds outcomes. I treasure hearts. When you chose to obey me quietly, you aligned yourself with the rhythm of my kingdom. That alignment is powerful even when it feels lonely. There were times you could have drawn attention to yourself, explained your sacrifice, defended your choices, or demanded recognition. But you did not. You stayed quiet. You let me see. That humility matters. That restraint matters. That trust matters. You entrusted your obedience to me instead of seeking validation from others, and that trust was not misplaced. I want to reassure you now because there may be days ahead when the silence feels heavy again. Remember this truth when that happens. I am not silent toward you. I am attentive. I am intentional. I am present. I do not miss moments. I do not forget sacrifices. I do not overlook faithfulness. Every act of obedience you offered me is recorded not as a list, but as a testimony of your heart. When no one clapped, you were not alone. I was strengthening you. I was shaping you. I was building something in you that applause could never build. Applause can inflate, but silence refines. And refinement prepares you for what is coming. You not allow resentment to grow in the places where recognition was absent. Release it to me. I will heal it. I will replace it with peace. I will remind you again and again that my approval is sufficient. You do not need to be seen by many when you are known by me. There will come moments when others begin to see the fruit of what you planted in silence. There will come times when the results of your obedience become visible. When that happens, remain humble. Remember the quiet days. Remember who sustained you when no one noticed. Let gratitude guard your heart. I am teaching you how to live from my presence, not from people's praise. This lesson will serve you well. It will keep you steady when attention comes and when it goes. It will anchor you in truth rather than opinion. It will free you from striving. Hear me now and let this settle deep within you. Divine reward is never based on human recognition. My reward flows from love, faithfulness, and trust. You have chosen well. You have walked faithfully. You have obeyed sincerely. And I am watching, even now, with a heart full of delight. Stay close to me. Let my presence be your affirmation. Let my voice be your applause. Let my peace be your reward. When no one clapped, I was watching. And I am still watching, guiding, and preparing you for what comes next. My beloved child, I want you to understand why what you did carried such weight, why it did not pass unnoticed, and why heaven responded the way it did. You live in a time where pressure presses in from every side, where fear speaks loudly, and where compromise has become normal. In this season, obedience is not celebrated. It is questioned, delayed, explained away, or softened to fit what feels comfortable. Many hear my voice, but few respond fully. Many sense my leading, but only a small number choose to follow it when it costs them something. That is why your obedience shocked heaven. Not because heaven was unaware of what you could do, but because heaven rarely sees obedience chosen over ease in a time like this. I see the weight you live under. I see how fear tries to shape decisions before faith has a chance to speak. I see how pressure pushes people to choose survival instead of surrender, comfort instead of courage, approval instead of truth. I see how compromise disguises itself as wisdom, how delay pretends to be patience, how silence pretends to be peace. In such an atmosphere, obedience becomes uncommon. It becomes costly. It becomes lonely. And because of that, it becomes powerful. When you chose to obey me, you stood against a current that pulls most people away. You did not follow the pattern around you. You did not blend in. You did not soften what I asked you to do so it would be easier to carry. You chose truth when truth was inconvenient. You chose faith when fear had many reasons to speak. You chose surrender when control felt safer. The choice created a ripple far beyond what you could see. Heaven is not easily shocked, but heaven is attentive. Angels are not moved by noise or performance. They are moved by obedience that flows from trust. When you chose me over ease, angels took notice. Not because you are perfect, but because you were willing. Not because you were fearless, but because you trusted me more than you trusted comfort. In a time where many hesitate, your response stood out. I want you to picture this not as applause, but as alignment. When you obeyed, things shifted. Spiritual doors that had been waiting for a response began to open. Barriers that stood because of hesitation lost their hold. Paths that could not move while you wavered began to clear. Obedience does not just please me, it creates order. It brings heaven and earth into agreement. It gives me room to move where resistance once existed. You may not have felt powerful when you obeyed. You may have felt tired, unsure, even afraid. But obedience does not require feeling strong. It requires choosing trust. And trust releases authority. When you chose obedience, you stepped into alignment with my will, and alignment carries power even when it feels quiet. The season you are living in is heavy because many are compromising. Pressure is everywhere. Fear is normalized. Shortcuts are praised. Integrity is questioned. Faith is diluted. In such an environment, obedience shines brighter because it is rare. Your choice stood out not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. I saw how many voices surrounded you. I saw the opinions, the advice, the expectations. I saw the pull to make things easier for yourself, to delay, to choose what would cost you less emotionally. I saw how reasonable those options looked. And I saw you choose me anyway. That is what caused movement. That is what caused notice. That is what caused heaven to lean in. Comment Jesus. You have my forever yes if you surrendered to his calling with an open heart, and share this video.